and I will repeat it later as well when others also join. So the quiz will be held next Friday at 6:30. So there is no difficult questions or anything like that because we discuss everything, and the quiz will be based on first 5 weeks, which is a general introduction, but more you have to focus on micro and macronutrients, which are we will discuss it today. And plus, today we have a new lecture, which is fluids. Yeah. So we have discussed a lot. We have mentioned what the macronutrients are. So those were carbs, proteins, and fats. And now I'll have some questions to you. So let's discuss the previous material, which was about vitamins and minerals. And then I will present my new presentation about the fluids that would be alcohol, that would be water, and caffeine containing drinks, which is tea and coffee. Because when we are talking about nutrition, it's not just food, right? We are talking about, but also fluids. They have huge impact. But until I do that, so let's discuss the previous material about the vitamins. Okay, so I'll ask some questions and you will try to answer to them. So please tell me the what types of vitamins do we know regarding their solubility?
You mean like some vitamins are soluble in fat and
Mhm.
some are in water? Yeah.
Exactly. So, fat soluble and water soluble. Yeah. So, Solomon, can you tell me which vitamins are stronger and which are less stronger and less stable?
I think the vitamin B and C,
Vitamin B and C are stronger or less strong?
they're stronger.
Less, less strong, of course, because the fact is that they do not stay in the body for a long time because they are just water soluble, and they can be excreted by the urination very very quickly. While the but and that's why you have to take water soluble vitamins every single day, right? And what can you tell me about lipid soluble vitamins? So what are those vitamins?
I think vitamin A, D, E, and I forgot. I just remember three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ADEK, A, D, E, and K would be fat soluble vitamins, and B and C would be of water soluble vitamins. Now Edison will tell me. So I want you briefly to tell me a little info about each of the vitamin. So Edison will tell me. So what do you remember about vitamin A? In which products do we have vitamin A, and why do we need vitamin A? Your voice is not heard, unfortunately. Maybe you have to change something. I'm not sure, but Edison's voice is not heard, unfortunately. Okay. Meanwhile, Edison solves the problem because your voice is not really heard. I can't hear anything. Yeah, we cannot hear you. Maybe he has some technical issues. Okay, Solomon, can you tell me meanwhile, so which products are on we have actually two types of vitamin A's, yeah? So one was plant-based vitamin A and another was animal-based vitamin A. And can you tell me the in which products do we have, for example, plant-based vitamin A?
Do you mean like the vitamin A, the retinol, and beta carotene?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, am I to say the functions like does it regulates growth and promotes an healthy skin?
Yeah, skin for skin it is absolutely good. It
Yeah,
is moisturizing skin, especially facial one. Yeah, but more
yeah,
importantly, it is important for eyes. Yeah,
yes.
and please,
Yeah, it helps the eyes adapt to dim light.
exactly. So please try to remember one more important detail here that we have to be very, very careful with prescribing vitamin A as the drug in old people. We are talking about the animal-based vitamin A, which is retinol, because as this, there can be some toxic side effects, especially in elderly. So prescribing and intaking generally plant-based vitamin A, carotene has no problem and no side effects, but retinol has them. Okay, so now, Edison, are you back? And can you make the check of your voice? Do we hear you or not? Okay. Yeah. So probably this time you will be just listening then. Uh, yeah. So you can mute it. And today you will be just listening, guys, without speaking. I think you have some technical problem in your mic, maybe. Okay, please tell me the who was I asking? Maybe Abed now because you are just two and I don't have any other students to ask. So what can you tell me about vitamin D? Because vitamin D is very, very, very popular. It just became too popular in 21st century. In 20th century, nobody was talking about vitamin D, but now we are. And why? Why do you think vitamin D is so popular? Um, what can be some benefits of?
So it's related to the calcium absorption.
Mm-hmm,
So yeah, I remember that about vitamin D, I think. So
mm-hmm,
yeah,
mm-hmm,
yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah, so, but let me tell you that in case of vitamin D, it's not just a vitamin. That's the whole point here. It is it acts as the hormone as well. So I would say that vitamin D has hormone and vitamin origins inside of that, and also it is, yeah, it is really important for calcium metabolism. But there were some studies which tell us that deficiency of vitamin D could be one of the risk factor for different oncological diseases. We are talking most of the time about the breast cancer. So it is a great antioxidant. So if in your questions you have the question in your quiz, if you have a question about antioxidant, please remember that antioxidant is all important minerals and vitamins which we have, so which can only give us the benefit. Vitamin A, vitamin B, C, all the vitamins, they are all antioxidants because they boost our immune system. But the vitamin D would be one of the greatest antioxidants ever because as I said, deficiency of vitamin D sometimes leads sometimes raises up the chance of some oncological diseases, which makes us think that vitamin D does much more than just calcium carrying, right? So this is really important. Okay, now Edison is back. Yeah, as I see. Is your microphone already problems with microphone solved or not really?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. So what happened? Probably
I don't
it
know.
was.
I think maybe it's a problem with my laptop or something.
Okay, so we were discussing the previous lecture. Actually, I always like discussion because I want to ensure that you really know the material well, and that's why I asked some questions. Yeah, and we were talking about some different vitamins. And Edison, can you tell me now what can be the source of vitamin D? Natural sources and product food sources of vitamin D. Can you tell me those things?
Sunlight,
Mm-hmm.
fish oils,
Mm-hmm.
margarine, and dairy products.
Mm-hmm. 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 Also, mushroom would be another good source. And by the way, I don't remember, I have told you this or not, but the fact is that the vitamin D is only synthesized where in the skin, right? And it's only synthesized in the summertime from 10, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that is the only period when the vitamin D is formed in the skin. If you sunbathe after 2 p.m., doesn't really, you will just get sunbathe and not more. But please remember that if we recommend our patients to get natural vitamin D from the sunlight, ask them to do that when it's a peak of the sun, that would be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. But please also remember to recommend our patients not to be under the sun during more than half an hour, because this will actually lead to sunburns and some headaches and dizziness. You know that, of course. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so I'm interested in vitamin C. One of you will tell me what the benefits of vitamin C are, because it's one of the immune system booster.
It's also antioxidant, yeah, the vitamin C.
Mm-hmm. It is also antioxidant. And in which products do we have vitamin C? I bet most of the time.
Greens, yeah. So vegetables, greens.
Maybe more, let's say, berries: strawberry, raspberry, blackberry, this berry, that berry. All berries, they contain vitamin C, and citrus products. Okay, green products as well. Yeah, why not? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. And what can be the functions, effects of vitamin C? So why do we call them antioxidant, and why do we have the huge necessity of intaking vitamin C? Do you have this? Yeah.
I know it's important for the immune system and it helps for the iron absorption, so it's related to the blood somehow, in some way.
So it helps iron absorption, first of all. Then it has a very, very good effect on immune system. It is antioxidant. And plus it helps healing, yeah, healing some wounds. It just little bit it helps that. So connective tissue. Okay, okay, okay. Now let's talk about the yeah, one more thing. This is really important as well. Vitamin B9. Maybe Solomon will tell me what he knows about vitamin B9.
Okay, for vitamin B9, like their functions, they help in development of like the brain and the spinal cord and skeleton in fetus. Like when somebody is pregnant, like they help in development of the baby. Also,
Mm-hmm.
they reduce risk of like neural tube defects.
Mm-hmm.
They also
Yeah,
they
so that
play
would be
a
two
role.
important functions. Yeah, one would be neural tube formation in fetus when the female is pregnant, and another blood formation. You said that, right? I didn't hear quite well.
For red blood cells
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
formation and also the play a role in preventing like heart attacks and cancer.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, okay, okay. Great. Now, let's talk about the minerals. Edison, can you tell me some examples of trace minerals and the major minerals?
And the trace minerals are iron, zinc, and iodine. And the major minerals are sodium, potassium, calcium, and phosphorus.
Mm-hmm. Great. So, of course, you remember from a lecture that we need trace minerals in very, very tiny quantities. We don't need them in large quantities. Well, major elements are needed in huge quantities. And plus the all these trace elements, they are all antioxidants as well, very nice antioxidants and immune system boosters. So I didn't have slide about selenium, but let me tell you that selenium is another trace minor mineral which is very, very good for thyroid gland and pancreatic hormones formation. And also it is immune system booster as well. And yeah, so this is very, very good mineral found in garlic, for example, and in undersea products. Okay, so one of you can tell me what he remembers about this iodine, because iodine is very, very important mineral we have to mention. You remember something about iodine, Abed or Solomon? Anyone?
I honestly forgot about iodine.
Maybe Edison or Solomon remember about a little bit about
Yes,
iodine.
Iodine,
Iodine, yeah.
it's help with the thyroid function.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's found in animal and plant life from the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
eggs, yogurt, and milk and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so most of the important function of iodine is, of course, the thyroid gland formation, of thyroid gland hormones formation, not the thyroid gland itself. And so you remember I even said that once, maybe 30 years ago, Georgia was considered to be iodine deficient country. So do you know why, by the way? Especially mountainous areas, they are still even today uh, they have deficiency of iodine. Do you probably know why?
Because they didn't like add the iodine in bread. I remember you told us about like adding the iodine in breads, like in the countries.
Yeah,
So
so that would be a result already. So they decided to put iodine in natural food, bread, salt. But the reason why in Georgia, for example, which is very, very mountainous area, the reason why we had iodine deficiency some years ago is the fact that more like higher you go from the sea level, there is less iodine in soil, so that is why in Svaneti, for example, which is, so I'm talking about my country. I'm not sure what happens in yours, because I know that Nigeria is not mountainous at all, not very. Am I right? Or is it mountainous and it has high hills? Does it, or not really?
yeah, I think like for me in Israel, we have like the lowest point on earth, so I don't think we have a problem in that.
I'm sure that you will not have problem of iodine, because Israel is a little bit yeah, located downwards. Yeah, as you said, there is lowest point. But Yeah, I think Nigeria is not high level country as well, but Georgia is. So that's why we had iodine deficiency, and that's why we had iodine deficiency related thyroid problems, which is goiter. So you know what the goiter is, enlargement of thyroid gland, right? And that's why our government about 30 or 20 or something years ago decided to artificially add iodine to all products which is containing salt. That's why today we don't have iodine deficiency related goiters or any, but natural we have. If one day government decides to not to give us iodine, we'll have iodine deficiency. Natural. Okay. And one more thing I was interested in from you, which mineral do you find really or vitamin do you find interesting and very important? So I need your opinion because I have my favorite minerals. And as the doctor, this is magnesium. But what about you? Which mineral did you like or vitamin? Most of this, which we mentioned in our presentation.
I think for me, vitamin D, because the like the benefits from
Mm-hmm,
it was not like really like discovered
mm-hmm,
like recently. So yeah.
mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I agree. Vitamin D is very interesting because it is hormone and plus vitamin
Yeah,
together.
exactly. Yeah.
What about others? Which mineral or vitamin Edison and Solomon think that are very original and interesting? Did you find any?
I think,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, maybe the most, like for me, I think the most important vitamin should be
Vitamin B.
vitamin B9. Yeah, because of like you need to take it during pregnancy. If not, the child is going to have like deficiencies and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, vitamin B9. And what about that was Solomon, yeah? Or that was it?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think for me, like the minerals, I think are okay. It's the zinc
Mm-hmm.
because like the function of the for like the acne and diabetes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like the sources are something like are things you can find easily, like the meat, the oats, and the eggs.
Uh-huh.
So
So zinc, yeah. By
yeah,
the way, zinc is very, please remember for yourselves as well that zinc is very commonly used during common cold when you have just cold and a little flu, mild flu. Zinc will really help you to your symptoms to disappear. So it will help you to recover. So please remember 20 milligrams per day for you. And now it is time to start the new presentation. Fluids, which I said is water, coffee, and alcohol. So three fluids we will talk about because um, we we need to know about what we drink, not just what we eat. Yeah. And we have to know that well because our patients will ask some questions and we have to know about the nutritional values of each of the this drinks because as I know, as you know, I'm nutritionist and endocrinologist, which means that I have a lot of people with diabetes mellitus, and a lot of people ask me, can we drink alcohol? And I also say, no, you can't when you have diabetes. And uh, I'm always telling them why. So that's why this knowledge is very important, not just about food, but about fluids. Okay, so my screen is visible to you? Yes or no? I think yes. Yeah.
Can you please repeat the question?
So my question was, do you see my screen? Just this.
Ah, yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Um, so just 1 second. This is better without. Okay, in this presentation, we will learn the following things. So we'll learn how to examine the role of water in maintaining our health. We'll know and relate sources of water, caffeine, alcohol in our diet. We will also illustrate some methods for evaluating the fluid requirements. And we will also talk about the signs and symptoms of dehydration, for example, or hyperhydration. And the last, we'll have, as the doctors, we will have to evaluate the role of the doctor in identifying individuals who have problems with alcohol, for example, excessive intake of alcohol. Okay, so what? Let's start with water because still the water is the unique solvent, and it has a lot of functions. So, okay. So, uh, just one second. Okay, there was strange noise outside. So, water is the largest constituent of the body, and please remember that average adult. So let's take us or even you. So you have in your body you have 60% of water. So your body contains 60% of water. Other important tissues are muscles, visceral organs, and so on. So 60% of water is found in your body, and of course, in children, it will be higher. It will be higher, the water percentage, and in elderly, in old people, of course, the water probably is maybe 30 or 40%, not more, not more. Why does it happen? Let me tell you why. Because let's say that water, there is no reservoir for water in the body, yes, but it is still accumulated for a while in muscles. So the people who work out in gyms, for example, their water what water quantity in their body will be even maybe 70% because they have muscles, and as I said, muscles is the place where the body water is accumulated for a while. I'll tell you more then. Some people who want their muscles to get bigger and bigger, they drink special nutrient, which is creatine, and this creatine helps accumulation of the water inside the muscle, which makes the muscles really huge. So that is sometimes done in these people. As I said, the quantity of the water will be even maybe more than 60%, but in people, older people who are older than maybe 65 years old, they have loss of muscle, and that's why they have diminished total body water as well. And this is very strange, but let me tell you that we have more water in muscles than in adipose tissue, because adipose tissue, yes, it contains water as well, but muscles contain it even more. Remember that. So what is water? Here you have some functions of water. First of all, it is a solvent. You said vitamin B and C, they need water for solution. Plus, water is a constituent of the blood, so the blood needs a fluid, water, for that, and water is responsible for transportation of blood cells. Water, as the urine or in sweating, is responsible for elimination the wastes of our body, so different wastes. It is responsible for body temperature maintaining, and plus, as I said, water is the constituent of blood, lymph, urine, and so on. So without water, I'm not sure that we will have blood or lymph at all. So of course, red blood cells and plasma and all these things are important, but water is not least important here, maybe even most important. What are some other functions of water is that we have to say thank you to water because we have heat inside, and heat absorption and temperature maintaining, as we said, is upon our H2O, water. So water is also responsible for oxygenating blood and lungs. Arterial blood pressure is very, very, very important here to mention, because more water we have inside the blood, more is arterial blood pressure as well. So if you feel dizzy and if you feel that you have hypotension because of different things, I'm not sure, the drinking some sips of water will help to raise up your arterial pressure. It is good for, it is just it is hydrating of our body, especially brain cells and the skin, and it is eliminator of different toxical substances. And let me tell you that water also gives us some energy. It does not mean that the water itself gives us energy. No, it does not. But water helps biochemical reactions, for example, carbohydrate catabolism, to have to yield the energy. So water will be helper of those biochemical reactions. So, function of the water, we have already said quite well what the functions of the water are. And let me tell you that water loss is very, very, very dangerous. What is water loss? So, water loss or deficiency of water is the state when the patient's output of the water is more than intake of the water. So when the kidneys do not work well, the patient, if he has polyuria, which is increased urination, and if he does not intake that much water, adequate water, he will have water loss. There are two types of water loss: insensible, well, when the water loss is measurable, and sensible, when water loss is not really measurable. As I said, the water balance would be the difference between total water gain and output. So, as I said, and I will repeat it one more time. So, if the output waste of the water is higher than intake of water, of course, it's logical and natural that the patient will experience dehydration. And if it's opposite, if intake of water is higher than output, of course, in this case, these patients will experience hyperhydration. Of course, dehydration is much, much worse. Um, but I'm talking about water, I'm talking about the functions of water. But let me tell you that there are lots of hormones which are responsible for affecting the water balance. That is vasopressin. Have you heard of this hormone before?
No, I don't think so for me.
Yeah.
This is the first time.
Okay. Okay. So vasopressin is same as antidiuretic hormone, which is produced by very, very interesting organ, endocrine organ, which is located in brain, and we call that hypothalamus. So this is responsible for water reabsorption. Renin as well, and aldosterone as well. Those are all hormones which are affecting water balance. So, and this is also important. Sodium, you know already the sodium. We have discussed the role of sodium last time and even today. So this is major mineral, isn't it? And the sodium takes hydrogen elements with it. So more sodium is reabsorbed by kidney. It means that more water is also reabsorbed by kidney, because sodium and water, they are friends, they are always together, and they carry each other. So that is why when we eat something salty, that's why the arterial blood pressure and blood volume will get increased again, because sodium carries water with it every time it is reabsorbed by kidneys. So water is gained with the two important processes. First is the water you drink. That is one of the source of having water inside the body. But then there is another source of the water. So when metabolism of carbs, proteins, and fats happen, water molecules are secreted. So we have that second type of second source of water by biochemical reactions. How about the water loss? Water is lost through urine, gastrointestinal tract, skin, and respiration. What about disorders? So water, we said it has a lot of functions and a lot of crucial functions. So if the patient suffers from dehydration, he will probably get ill, get sick, and at last die. That is so important. So but water, you can actually intake water and through the water itself, the fluid. But also water is found in different beverages. It is found a little bit in alcohol, a little bit itself. It can be found in different food, which is cucumber, strawberries, tomato, and so on. Um, so, what are some risk factors for alterations in fluid balance in older adults? So, let's ask this question more easily and clearly for you. So, what can be the result of dehydration in the dehydration or hyperhydration in old people? So, when the kidney fail, when we have the kidney failure, when the reabsorption of the water is impaired. So they drink water, yes, they do, but reabsorption is not working from the kidneys and they lose all the water they took. Also, and then there is inability to concentrate urine, and also the elderly have problems with sensitivity towards thirst. Some people have over sensitivity to thirst. Some people have deficiency of sensitivity. So I'm sure that a lot of people do not love drinking water because water doesn't have any taste at all. So even me, I don't really like water, but I sometimes make myself to drink it. So there are some tricks which make us to drink more water, and you can use these recommendations when with your patients in your future career. So I always tell my patients to buy the beautiful bottles, carry which are portable, and they can fill the water inside, and they will control how much water they drank. So I think it is even having this, little splitting. So 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m. So you will know how many water you have drunk at 4 2 p.m. So it is giving you some good information. You are drinking water or you're forgetting. You can aromatize the water with lemon, with cucumber, with the menthol. Actually, I have to do that myself because summer is coming, and in summer you have to be sure you are hydrated. And you have to eat water because I said water is inside cucumber, lettuce, onions, and so on. All of you have smartphones. You can install the application which will remind you to drink water. So how much water should we drink? Actually, this is the a very very average recommended intake of the water, about 2 liters maximum. But I ask you the question now to you. Do you drink this amount of water every day, about 2 liters or a liter and a half, or not really?
I don't think so. Maybe 1.5 liters max.
Maximum. This is already not bad. What about others?
Yeah, the same actually, like about 1 liter or two.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So yeah, you're even lucky if you drink 1 liters or even two, because some people, I have some patients who tell me that they drink just 1 glass of water per day. So that is very, very, very little portion. So you have to try to still hydrate yourselves. Okay, we're done with water. Now, what about caffeine? Caffeine is one of the most frequently and common and popular stimulant of nervous system. We drink them because we want to wake up in the morning. Why? Because we are stimulating our nervous system. Plus, caffeine has different functions. It is helping us to secrete hormones of happiness, norepinephrine, dopamine, and serotonin. Plus, that caffeine has anti-asthmatic action. I didn't know that before I was making this presentation, but then I found out that it really has. Um, then, because it is doing bronchodilation, that's why it is doing that. So caffeine has also a little diuretic effect. So I'm not sure it is advantage, by the way. I think it's more disadvantage. And let me tell you that effects of caffeine is very very individual, and it depends on gender, genetics, personal tolerance. For example, one can tell us that he can drink a coffee at 9 p.m. and he will sleep like a baby, let's say very very easily and very very well. But there are some other people who drink coffee at maybe 5 p.m. and they won't sleep at all because caffeine will stimulate their nervous system for a long time. So it depends on the person. It very depends on the person.
Yeah, is those the benefits from coffee or caffeine the drug?
Caffeine. Most of the time it's caffeine, but as coffee contains caffeine, so it's the same. It's the
Yeah,
same.
got it. Okay.
Mhm. What could be the side effects of caffeine if we drink more than 3-4 cups per day of coffee or for concentrated tea? We will have a lot of side effects that can be anxiety, confusion, delirium, headache, insomnia, sleep deprivation. The patient will be very, very sensitive to touch or pain, and he will have tachycardia. He will have dehydration because we said coffee has diuretic effect. He will even see some flashes, little hallucinations. This is very, very interesting for me as well. But we are talking about the case when the person drinks about 7-8 cups per day constantly, not today. So if he drinks it for 1 month or even more, and he will have trembling and twitching in his muscles. So you understand that it has quite huge list of side effects, right? So peak caffeine levels reach the bloodstream in from 3 to 120 minutes, and the half-life of caffeine is just maximum 6 hours, maximum. So half-life of caffeine is a little bit longer in pregnants, and that's why, which says that if the pregnant drinks coffee at 9 p.m., coffee will stay in the bloodstream about 8 hours in. So that's why pregnants are allowed to drink just 1 cup of coffee. And half-life of coffee is shortened with smoking. And by the way, improved tolerance, improved sensitivity, let's say, to caffeine occurs after if you take regularly. So what I try to tell you is that one day you decide to drink 4 cups of coffee. Today, you felt really, really sick. You had headache and so on. Tomorrow, if you continue to do that tomorrow, day after tomorrow, after 5 days, you will not feel side effects. I'm not sure this is good or bad, by the way. What are the sources of caffeine? Coffee, tea, soft drinks, chocolate, medication. Okay. So now we see some countries, African and South American countries. By the way, do we have Nigeria here somewhere? I'm not sure where it is located. Maybe somewhere here, or it is a little bit up. Edison and Solomon. Where is Nigeria located here on this map?
A little bit to your left, not to
Ah,
my left.
somewhere here?
Up.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
That is
Yeah.
Nigeria, which means that in your country you have a robusta coffee, which is a plant. Yeah, so the coffee is a plant. You know that there are some trees. If we have time, there is a 3-minute video. I'll show you how coffee is produced. And in other countries, we have Arabica. For example, we're in those countries here as well, Uruguay, Paraguay. So yeah, Arabica and Robusta are two important types of coffee plants. And the last fluid we are going to discuss is alcohol. So, alcohol doesn't only give you dizziness and some important effects, but also it gives you energy 7 kilocalories per gram. Alcohol is metabolized by alcohol dehydrogenase, which is ADH, secreted in our biggest organ, liver. And of course, you know that more alcohol is ingested, it is more, how to say, um, if you decide to drink too much alcohol, yeah, the very our liver is not really able to metabolize that much, which means that it will not be metabolized, and this excessive alcohol will remain in your blood and probably will cross the blood-brain barrier and have some different effects on the central nervous system. So if you drink one glass of red wine, nothing will happen. Maybe you will feel just a little bit dizzy, just a little bit. But if you drink five, it already will give you some different effects. I'm sure the effects of alcohol are familiar to you, but please remember the role of ADH, which is enzyme responsible for degrading your alcohol. There are lots of pregnants who always ask doctors, "Can we drink alcohol?" What do you think about this? Can they or not really?
No.
No, I agree. Actually, the fact is that alcohol is not just having effect on nervous system, but it also is responsible for constriction of blood vessels, and limitation of the blood flow to the fetus can be dangerous. Okay, some sips of red wine maybe will not harm the fetus, but for what? Is that so pleasant? I don't think so, but we always tell the patients to drink 2 or maybe 3 sips of alcohol, maybe just if they so want them. But at last and ultimately, I think that it's rather not to drink alcohol because you never know, it can act as direct toxin for fetal brain. So maybe if she so very wants to do that, in second trimester it is less chance that it will harm the baby. But if she drinks it in first trimester, where nervous system and spinal cord is developed, it will not give benefits to fetus. But there are lots of myths around alcohol, yeah, that one glass of beer or wine will not affect us, and some people drink them and even drive the car after that. That is bullshit. This is not true. And please remember that. Uh, and some people eat butter or eat heavily in order to avoid getting drunk. This is also not true, because in this case you will get drunk. Yes, you will, but after 3 hours, which is worse, to get drunk on time or get drunk after 3 hours? I think another one. And some people think that one glass of red wine is very beneficial for us. Depends on age and gender, and depends on red wine, how natural it is. And also, some people on hangover drink coffee and have the cold bath, shower, in order to combat against hangover. This is also nonsense, since we on hangover we have a vasoconstriction because of alcohol, and if you still have the cold shower and caffeine, it will make your vasoconstriction even worse. So don't do that. Those are some helpings for our hangover. That will be, please remember, mineral water helps reducing acidic situation in your stomach. Also, sugar and sweet products and hot products, hot soup will help you to dilate the vasoconstriction. Is antibiotic and alcohol together, is it good idea to intake them together? Not sure, because antibiotics and alcohol can cause some side effects, similar side effects: dizziness, drowsiness, stomach upset, and to combining them together will increase those side effects. And there, if the person decides to drink alcohol with metronidazole, specific medication, metronidazole, or others, tinidazole, he will probably even die because the severe reaction will happen. And the last for today, last part, very, very little part is left about the energy balance that we actually, it's the same as the water balance. If we output too much energy and do not have the energy intake, of course, we'll have energy loss and we will feel fatigue. And if we have energy expenditure more than, but if we do not have the energy expenditure at all, we will have weight gain. And please remember that we measure energy in kilocalories. The 1 calorie will be amount of energy in order to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 Celsius. For you, please remember, I don't want to remember this thing, but for you, I want you to remember that the 1 calorie of the 1 kilocalorie is just an energy of an unit for the energy. For you, it is enough to remember. And this is Bohm calorimeter, special gadget, which is you put the apple inside the here, for example, and it will give you exact number of kilocalories the apple has. So this is, by the way, I have never seen that. I have never seen that. I'm not sure we're using them in 21st century in clinics, at least, but maybe they're using Bohm calorimeters in some factories when they produce some food. And there are two other units of energy. So one was kilocalorie, another is kilojoule, which is another term to measure energy. And you see 1 kilojoule is equivalent to 0.24 kilocalories. And the last but not least, as I remember, that's the last slide for today. So please remember those, there will be questions in quiz. So 1 gram of carbohydrate gives us 4 kilocalories, protein same, fat gives us 9 kilocalories, while alcohol has just 7 kilocalories per gram. So huge and biggest energy giver for us would be fat. Any questions to me? So I will repeat this information for the ones who joined me late. That is, I think, Edison, only Edison. That next Friday at 6:30 we'll have a little quiz based on macronutrients and micronutrients. Please pay attention to most time these presentations.
Excuse me. I had like uh, some like quiz listed on my portal that said like I had a quiz in nutrition on Monday.
I think there is a mistake because they will change it, I think, because today I have talked with the manager and we said it will be 15th. But if they change anything, they will let you know probably. So it's not already me who is involved in making the time for quiz, but I told them that you can write it on during my seminar. So maybe they changed it later. Not
Okay,
sure.
so we just have one quiz on Friday, next Friday, yeah?
Yes. So half an hour and another half an hour, probably we will sum up the information which we already heard together. And then after the quiz, after 2 weeks Friday, we start absolutely different topics. Nutrition in different, in elderly, in children, in different diseases. So we'll talk about that type of topics later.
Okay,
Is the quiz
sorry.
just for okay?
Quiz is
No,
multiple
talk, talk.
question. Multiple
Is the quiz just for micro and macronutrients?
micronutrients, macronutrients. There will be no questions from less questions from first presentation because first presentation is general thing. What else did we have? Yeah, basically macro and micronutrients. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like, so is it going to be like online or like oral exam or something?
It will be online, written quiz. Written quiz. Online written quiz. The oral quiz
Okay.
is not involved in this case. Just written
Uh, Excuse me, written as like multiple options, yeah?
questions.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, again, as I know it's on Friday, but if they change it and if they decide to give you that on Monday, they will let you know, I think. But I told them better to be on during our seminar. Okay, for me, doesn't really matter. And just recommendations to revise these macro and micronutrients. And there will be altogether 40 questions, 40 but easy questions. There is no worries about that. Okay, we're done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I say goodbye until next Friday too then. Bye bye.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Yeah, bye bye.
Bye.